March 27, 1977. When two fully loaded Boeing 747s with 747 passengers collided on the runway at Los Rodeos Airport in Tenerife, Spain. It was the worst air crash in history. There were two aircraft included on the runway: a KLM flight from Amsterdam and a Pan Am flight from New York. Due to a series of unfortunate incidents and miscommunications, the pilots of both the planes landed on the same runway at the same time. And yes, that was the root cause of the incident. As fog rolled in and visibility deteriorated, air traffic controllers struggled to keep track of the aircraft on the crowded runway. The KLM pilot, without proper clearance, began landing on the runway and collided with the Pan Am plane. In this plane crash, 248 passengers on the KLM plane and 335 of the 396 passengers on board the Pan Am plane died. Only 61 people survived in the forward section of the plane. With a total of 583 fatalities, the disaster is the deadliest in aviation history. Edit KLM Flight 4805. KLM Captain Jacob Veldhuizen was featured in a 1977 advertisement for the Van Zanten airline. KLM Flight 4805 was a charter flight for Holland International Travel Group and arrived at Amsterdam Airport Schiphol, Netherlands. Its cockpit crew was Captain Jacob Veldhuizen van Zanten, who was 50. First Officer Klaus Meyers, who was 42 years old, and Flight Engineer Willem Schroeder, who was 48 years old. The aircraft was a Boeing 747-206B, registration PHBUF, named Rhine. The KLM jet was carrying 235 passengers, including 14 crew members and 52 children. Most of the KLM passengers were Dutch, with 4 Germans, 2 Austrians, and 2 Americans on board. After the plane landed in Tenerife, the passengers were taken to the airport terminal. Pan Am Flight 1736 Edit. Pan Am Flight 1736 originated at Los Angeles International Airport with an intermediate stop at John F. Kennedy International Airport, JFK, in New York. The aircraft was a Boeing 747-121, registration in 736PA, named Clipper Victor. It was the first 747 delivered to an airline. Of the 380 passengers, mostly of retirement age, but including 2 children, 14 boarded to New York, where the crew was also changed. All but 5 passengers on the plane were Americans. All non-US passengers are Canadian citizens. The new crew consisted of Captain Victor Grubbs, age 56, First Officer Robert Bragg, age 39, Flight Engineer George Warnes, age 46, and 13 flight attendants. The sound of screeching metal and shattering glass echoed through the air as the two planes collided with a force that shook the ground. The force of the impact caused both planes to burst into a fiery blaze, trapping hundreds of passengers inside. Passengers and crew inside the two planes faced a terrifying scene of chaos and panic. Cabins fill with smoke as people scrambled to escape. The realization that they were trapped in a burning metal cage sent waves of fear and despair among the survivors. The emergency response teams race against time to rescue survivors as the night sky is lit up by fire from the crashed plane. Brave firefighters and paramedics worked tirelessly to pull the injured from the wreckage and put out the flames that threatened to engulf everything in their path. I will never forget the sound of impact and the feeling of helplessness as the plane burst into flames. The heroes who saved us that night risked their lives to pull us out of the rubble. I will forever be grateful for their bravery and sacrifice. After the accident, the world mourned the loss of 583 lives, families were torn apart, and communities were devastated by the tragedy. The aviation industry was rocked to its core as accident investigations revealed multiple errors and miscommunications that led to the catastrophic incident. The worst plane crash in history sent shockwaves around the world, prompting a re-evaluation of safety protocols and procedures in the airline industry. Lessons learned from this tragic event will help shape the future of air travel and ensure that such devastating accidents never happen again. As we look back on the events of that fateful day in Tenerife, we honor the memory of those who lost their lives in the worst air crash in history. May their legacy inspire us to forget the importance of safety and caution in the skies. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history. Stay tuned for more fascinating stories on our channel.